The economic problem arises because people want to make their lives better. This is a fundamental part of human nature and has led to many fantastic achievements by the human race as a whole. In economics, instead of saying that people want things, we say that they have wants. Some wants are more important than others. Needs are the three basic wants that all people everywhere share, and they are food, clothing, and shelter. It is only after we have satisfied these wants that we can go about satisfying other, less urgent wants. And one thing is certain, there will be other wants. We might want to get a new dining suite, or we might want a designer dress to go out in, or we might want a pony, or a summer dress, or a VW convertible, or some stylish casual wear, or a swimming pool with slippery dip and cascading fountain. The problem with wants is that they are unlimited. No matter how fast we satisfy them, there will always be more. Some wants are complementary. For example, if we satisfy our want for a bike, we will probably want a helmet and a simple yet stylish cycling outfit to go with it. Some wants are recurring. Food and drink are the most obvious examples, but there are many others, like shoes, shampoo, razors, and tyres for the bike. Wants also change over time because people change over time. There are some things that you might have wanted when you were 5 years old that you don't want now. And in 20 years' time, your wants might be very different from your current wants. Wants can also be classified as individual wants and collective wants. Individual wants are things that we would like for ourselves. We try to satisfy these wants by purchasing goods and services. Collective wants are things wanted by the community as a whole, like airports, libraries, public transport, and sports stadia. These are paid for by the government using taxes. Things that we use to satisfy wants are called resources, or factors of production. Resources can be classified as land, labour, capital and enterprise. Land includes all natural resources that can be used to help people satisfy wants. Things like forests, water, farmland, and mineral deposits. Even sunlight and wind can be classified as land. Labour refers to human effort that can be used to produce goods and services. It isn't limited to purely physical effort. It includes mental effort as well. Capital refers to goods that are made to help make other goods or services. Tools like hammers, screwdrivers and ladders are capital goods. They make it easier to make other goods. A hammer is a capital good. It makes it easier to nail things together. A nail gun is a more expensive piece of capital equipment that is designed for the same purpose. It is more expensive than a hammer, but it requires less physical effort and is much faster, so we can produce more in the same amount of time. Imagine how much longer this job would take if every nail had to be hammered in by hand. there are lots of specialised pieces of capital machinery that are used in factories to produce consumer goods or other capital goods. On a bigger scale, cranes, roads, railways and forklifts are also capital. Money itself is not capital, because money is simply a concept that helps us exchange goods and services. It is not a resource. For example, when someone gets paid for doing their job, what they're actually getting is the value of their labour in an easily exchangeable form. To make goods and services, land, labour and capital have to be combined. For example, mineral deposits, which are classified as land, on their own do not help to satisfy wants. They have to be dug up and processed, which usually requires human effort, which is labour, and machinery, which is capital, before they are useful. The ability to combine land, labour and capital is called enterprise, and a person who does this is called an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur identifies a want, then combines land, labour and capital to satisfy that want in the hope of making a profit. A country's wealth is measured by its ability to satisfy the wants of its citizens. Because resources are used to satisfy wants, we can measure a country's wealth by measuring the amount and combination of its resources. This is why the USA is considered to be the wealthiest country in the world. It has lots of productive land, a large labour force, lots of capital equipment and lots of entrepreneurs. All of these resources can be combined to satisfy a lot of wants. Japan, another wealthy nation, has a large labour force, is highly capitalised and has many entrepreneurs. It is not as rich as the USA, however, because it has a small amount of land compared to its population. So Japan has to buy many resources that are classified as land, like coal and iron, from other countries. China is a poorer nation. It has a massive labour force and lots of land, but it does not have enough entrepreneurs, people who are good at combining the other resources to make a profit. The problem with resources is that they are limited. Take the example of trees in a forest. Clearly, there are only so many trees. There may be thousands or millions of them, but there is a definite number. If we chop them down, we can plant some more trees, but there is a limit to how fast they will grow. The number of trees is limited. Resources also have alternative uses. With trees, we can chop them down and use the wood to make paper or furniture, or burn it to provide heat, or leave them to protect the soil and maintain biodiversity. This brings us to the economic problem. The economic problem is this: people have unlimited wants. Resources are used to satisfy wants. However, resources are limited, and they have alternative uses. There are not enough resources to satisfy all our wants, so we must decide which wants we will satisfy and which we will leave unsatisfied. The economic problem, like life, is about making choices. When we satisfy one want, we forego another want. This principle is known as opportunity cost. Say that you want an apple and you also want an orange, but your funds are limited and you can only afford to buy one. You have to make a decision. If you buy the apple, you are foregoing the orange, which is the opportunity cost. If you buy the orange, then the apple is the opportunity cost. When you choose one, you have to give up the other. The same might apply to a bike and a pair of rollerblades. If you buy the bike, you can't get the rollerblades. And if you buy the rollerblades, you can't get the bike. Every time you purchase something, you pay an opportunity cost. It's whatever else you could have bought with the money. The principle of opportunity cost also affects businesses and governments. Whenever the government spends money in one area, such as defence, they have to weigh up whether that money would be better spent in another area, such as health. This can be quite tricky because there's no point in having the best hospitals in the world if we can't defend ourselves from invasion. And there's no point having the best equipped army in the world if everyone is sick.
Health insurance will mean an extra 400...
When you throw in the other areas that governments look after, such as education, roads and transport, customs and law and order, you see how hard it becomes.
The extension of the health benefit card.
We can see the concept of opportunity cost by using a production possibilities model. In the model, we assume that all resources are fully employed and that society only produces two goods, bread and ovens. Bread is a consumer good and ovens are capital goods. If we decided to devote all of our resources to making bread, we might be able to produce 100 loaves a day. But this would mean that we would not be able to produce any ovens. If we decided to devote all of our resources to making ovens, we would not be able to make any bread. This too is unrealistic because bread is an urgent want and has to be satisfied if we're not going to starve. However, if we make 75 loaves of bread, we will be able to use the leftover resources to make 2 ovens. And if we decide to make 3 ovens, we will be able to make 50 loaves of bread. If we draw a line connecting all of these points, we have made a production possibilities frontier, or curve. If we use all of our available resources, we can produce any combination of bread and ovens along the curve. Most economies, however, do not operate on the curve. If there is unemployment, society is not using all of its resources, so output of goods and services will fall inside the curve. If the population increases or new resources are discovered, the resources available to the economy are increased and the production possibilities frontier is pushed outwards. The same thing happens with the development of new technology, which allows us to use our resources more efficiently. Limited resources and opportunity cost mean that any decisions made today have future implications. For example, if we use a non-renewable resource like coal to